And let's try and figure out who it is that is here. I'm only going to be able to drive a little bit further in because they are pretty much lying on the entrance road. Sorry, that was just a branch. It's all good. I'm just going to stay here for a few moments, let them settle. Hello. Seems like your stomachs have gone down a little bit. You're not looking as full as you were. Now, I wonder if this is perhaps Soul or if it's that male cub. And then if it is Gwen, the one that's lying on her back a bit further down the road. No signs of the youngsters for now, so we're just going to stick around, seeing the adults are here, and maybe we'll be able to have a look at them a little while later. A game of patience with the hyenas as well. You guys having a good sleep, hey? And it is very stormy weather, so I think sleeping is probably the best thing that they could all do. And especially if they've been walking very far throughout the night. Sleepy, are we? Now we've got 2 of them around there, and then the den is just there. Ah, crazed drug. So you say that this is Soul? Good. So they have. So I imagine, because we identified it earlier, that the other one is Gwen. Now they got here a lot quicker than what I thought. So I'm sure they took a shortcut somewhere along the lines, and we were just stuck to the roads. But it's a lot easier when you can just go through the blocks, isn't it, guys? Now, like I said, we saw them quite far away from here, so they must have maintained a very steady pace all the way here, and perhaps they're just a bit tired and that's why they're taking it easy. I'm sure they've been roaming around during the night looking for food. I love it when hyenas still have those beautiful untattered ears. I think it's one of my favorite features about them. Now, I cannot see any little heads peering from the den, so I think maybe the youngsters are still in there. And they've been walking so much, the adults, that now it's pretty much rest time, and the youngsters will only eventually come out after nap time. So the good thing is that they're here, and we can wait for them. Arlara Moore, you say that they look so comfortable and cozy. I agree. I think they're looking very nicely. Is that a little head that we see there? Oh, I don't know if that's a little head. Let's have a bit of a better look with the binoculars. No, it doesn't look like a head. Sorry, I got excited. Then maybe it was an ear sticking out. But no, I think it was more some dung that's up there. Looks like some elephant dung all the way up there. They are looking quite cozy, and I wish that I could just pretty much go and lie down next to them and start sleeping. Guys, you have been so entertaining the last few days. Thank you. But now I'm sure you earned your very, very attended break. Almost feels like you want to go pat it in the stomach. And I wonder if we're going to see what it is that we thought that maybe they were carrying around. Perhaps it's just something that they picked up and took on the trip for a little while. But seems like they're pretty settled for the next while. But now that there are no clouds, they can sleep pretty much out in the open. They don't have to look for shade. So if the wind carries on like this, there's a very good chance that they'll be out and about this afternoon, which is wonderful news for us, because I'm sure everyone's dying to see how those 2 little ones have been doing since pretty much yesterday, because we saw them yesterday, didn't we? Very peaceful setting. Alright, I'm gonna maybe try and go slightly forward and just park in here. I just hope that we don't disturb Soul all too much. Sorry, boy. I'm not trying to get to you. Alright. I'll have a bit of a better look here. There we go. Beautiful hyenas. How are you girls doing? Well, sorry, gal and potentially boy. Some grooming going on. Who knows where you've been walking through the night? Maybe you've been gallivanting off to the Manuleti. Seems like that was roughly the direction from where they were coming from. If not, perhaps maybe some of the staff quarters in the Sabi sand. Michael, you're wondering how many litters can a hyena have in a lifetime? That is a good question. Let's say they live until they're about maybe 20 years old. And the youngsters are weaned at about 2-ish. Well, not weaned at about a year. They only start reconceiving at about 2-ish. So I would say maybe about perhaps same as leopards. Maybe they'll have 5 different litters if they raise them all successfully. 6. Maybe even 7. Let's see if the book has a better answer than this one that I'm trying to think about. But I would say the average would be somewhere around there if they have a new litter every 2 years and they live up to 20 years. Because I'm sure there are some young ones that are also lost in the process. To find in the book, see if perhaps we have a more clear view. I'm sure studies like this must have been done before, so maybe it's even worth it trying to go into a a scientific paper, and try to find out what the story is. No, this is not what I'm looking for. Also not what I'm looking for. Parenting and offspring behavior. Maybe that's somewhere in there. No. Yeah, I'm gonna go with an average of perhaps 6 to 7 litters in their lifetime. If they stick with all of their litters and they don't raise them to adulthood. We're going to stay with this sleepy hyena, see if perhaps the little ones come out. But while we do that, let's go to Taylor, who's got a monitor lizard and Chitwa dam. Either one of them. To come out of the hole, or the adults that are here just to come out and start moving around. So I was going through the book and just trying to figure out how many possible litters they would be able to have, and I think maybe if we think about it this way, normally they will come sexually reproductive when they're about 3 years of age, maybe even 4. So the breeding interval is roughly 2 to 3 years, so it's 4 to 7-ish, it's 1, 7 to 10 is the second litter, potentially 13, 15, what's after 15, plus 2, 3, 18, 20, so about 6 maybe, 5, 6 different litters, perhaps if they are very, very successful and they have very good times and they can raise their young quicker, maybe they'll even be able to have an extra one. I would say it's roughly the same interval as what we were discussing earlier with Shadow and cubs today, although I think because Shadow has lost so many litters in a lifetime, every time that she loses a litter, then she will go, and it happens not only with Shadow but also with hyenas and pretty much any other creature around. If they do not manage to successfully raise their litter into adulthood, then they'll go back into estrus and they'll, I think in ideal conditions, I mean, they would have maybe as few as 5, 6 litters, but then if they lose their litters and they come into estrus more often than they would normally do because they don't have any young ones to raise, then maybe the litter number increases. Seems like 4 now. I'm gonna put my gloves back on because I am still slightly cold. And I am hoping that, come on guys. I think we're going to be playing the patience game with the hyenas like we've been doing with some of the leopards and lions lately. Because we do know what the reward is and where the reward is currently hiding, probably having a good nap. So we shall carry on waiting for them. Now, if you look at the spots of the hyena, hyenas also have got a unique spot pattern in them. So you are able to identify individuals just by looking at their beautiful spots. And they start, if the little ones will come out, they start getting their spots normally when they're around about three months of age, and when they start venturing more often out of the den. Because when they are born, they almost look like tiny little black bears, and as they start growing older, like Djuma is, then their head's going to start changing color, their hair starts becoming a little bit longer and lighter. So I think Djuma's starting to get onto that phase where she is still young, but she's not the smallest one, as we have seen from the other little cub. This is also a very nice den site, very big, lots of chambers, very well hidden. Well done guys. No waking up though, hey? I think maybe they started running after we saw them. I didn't think we took that long to get here. And what a peaceful setting with all the little birds chattering around. Another great morning out in the bush. Now I'm sure once the little ones come out, they're going to be starving. And likely they're going to maybe play around a little bit and then start making all sorts of funny noises, asking for food. We're going to carry on waiting for these little ones to come out here. But Taylor has found another matriarchal society, hopefully. So let's go to her and find out what she's looking at. Oh no, it seems like they got a hold of Taylor. We have been patiently waiting here with the very trustworthy book, waiting for the hyenas to kind of move and perhaps call the little ones out. It seems like, however, that's not the plan for the day. What we think is Gwen did glance in that direction for a little while earlier on, and we were hoping that they were going to start perhaps calling, or the youngsters were going to come out, but I think they've enjoyed it. They are enjoying their sleep way too much for this. And I wonder if they have been moving around the whole night. Well, you can imagine why they're so tired and why they very likely don't want to move or do anything. And I mean, she's got such a comfy spot that why would you even really want to move? I am a bit jealous of her spots. She looks very happy where she is. But I think perhaps we're gonna just stay here for another 5-10 minutes, see if the little ones come out. If not, then we'll definitely try again this afternoon, because I don't think these hyenas will be up to too much for the time being. I think the weather conditions helped them, or allowed for them to start or to move a bit further into the morning and perhaps go for a bigger hunting session or patrol session, and now they are resting. We found them quite further away from what we saw them the other day, so I'm not too sure how much they've been walking during the night, but I'm guessing at least a few Ks. Soundly asleep. Looks very much like a dog in the way that it's sleeping. Chris Drog, you're saying that you think that the other hyena doesn't look like Gwen. I was wondering about it because the ears look a bit too roundy for me. So you say maybe it's Soul's littermate heart. I think you might be right just by judging at it. I did think that maybe my eyes were getting a bit confused and Gwen didn't look as big. But sometimes in the mornings strange things happen. But I'm glad to think that as somebody that's been viewing them for probably longer than what I have, we have the same idea. I do think that you are right. This looks like a younger hyena. And often the hyenas will leave a babysitter to look after the den in case anything comes around and tries to threaten the younger. It's not that they would be super ferocious in attacking it, but it's always good to have a babysitter looking after the little ones. Now, I don't know if maybe they have gone onto the other side of the den because they also like to be there. But because we have these two sleeping here, I don't think I'm gonna go around and disturb them. So we're just, like I said, gonna give it another 5 to 10 minutes, see if perhaps they start moving around or if there's any action coming from the den. But I think that maybe not. So I wonder if actually what we saw earlier wasn't Gwen and perhaps it was another hyena. You see, now it's all getting very confusing. Perhaps Gwen is here somewhere around here. Perhaps she's still on her way. Interesting. When we were watching them earlier, it was a bit of a tough look in between the bushes. It seems like you guys are quite enjoying this. Now, if it's two young males, normally the males will disperse from higher ranking, from their clan onto another clan, just to have or be able to compete for mating rights, which is pretty much what all males out in the bush are looking for, just to be able to pass down their genes. So the males, unlike the females that become fully grown around about 2 years old, 3 years old, they're only gonna become fully grown at around 4, and they only leave their natal clan around about that age. And because they are probably bigger than the males that are in another clan, and especially if they are the offspring of a dominant female, they will have that self-confidence that will allow them to impose themselves as the dominant males in a new clan and perhaps guarantee them more mating opportunities. Colleen, you're wondering if den members babysit cubs. Not as much as cooperative as we see perhaps in wild dogs, but often they will leave one member behind to kind of keep an eye on things and just make sure that nothing goes wrong. It's a good encounter point. This is where they've all been coming back and forth, so if they would like to meet up with the rest of the clan, it's a good point to start looking for the rest of them. But yes, often they will leave a babysitter around, waiting to look after the den and the young ones in the den. Guys, not even one move, hey? You guys are completely out. Now we hear a lot of francolins in the distance. If you're wondering what that noise was. No, I don't think these guys are going to be up to too much. I think maybe it would be worth it just coming back in the afternoon. Hopefully we will have foraging and they're scavenging. I wonder if perhaps, I know Taylor has been taking all sorts of videos of hyenas coming into camp, so I wonder if it was one of these two that she got yesterday. Seems like Taylor has been enjoying sneaking up on the hyenas in the middle of the night when they come and they start going through the garbage, and she always takes a video of them and she catches them. She watches them from her room. So I wonder if perhaps one of these two was not the one that was causing havoc yesterday morning or yesterday during the night. Alright guys, I think we are going to be leaving this den. I don't think there's going to be too much happening around here. I think these guys are pretty fast and sound and asleep. And we're going to maybe start heading roughly back into camp, see if we can bump into, fingers crossed, that other leopard that apparently was heard around. It's a lot easier when we can see what's happening. Okay, are you fine?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, let's just watch out for any other possible things. It's a bit of crazy off-roading at the den. And I think I can turn around back here.